in my living room today. Just put a bit of a brighter light on. So in this video, I want to talk about post-nut clarity. So it's where you have you can masturbate or maybe have sex with someone, and then afterwards you feel kind of clear that, oh no, that wasn't kind of the way I wanted to do it or whatever. And you have this kind of realization that you that you know it's not needed, you don't, you know, that you're not getting anything from it, etc. So basically, why is that? Why does that happen? And I've spoken to a couple of men who've well, at least one man who didn't like that feeling, sort of wanted to, like, say, had a bit of an addiction to masturbation, and then after he masturbated, he straight away felt like, why am I doing this all the time? Like, what is it doing for me? I'm not kind of getting anything from it, and it's like, I don't need this. So the thing here is, with any form of addiction, whatever it is, masturbation, okay. So that's because you've got an addiction, and that will come. Sorry, Star Wars Rue has just said he gets that feeling, if anyone doesn't see that comment. So any kind, basically, when you have that realization, like, oh, I don't need this, and then you feel kind of, maybe reality hits, and maybe you feel a bit cold, and it's like you get the kind of feeling of like, that was a bit of a waste of time, maybe. That's because you have an addiction. Now, when you've got an addiction, and this could be an addiction to anything, it can be an addiction to food, sex, porn, drugs, alcohol, anything like that. All addiction has the same kind of neurological pathways in the brain, okay? Now, obviously, some addictions are more functional, like, or we can dress it up as more functional, like workaholism or whatever. But basically, when you have that feeling, it's because you're addicted. You're not actually addressing the addiction, the lack. So you're going to, after you've given yourself what you need, or what you think you need, you then have this cold feeling, and it's like a waste of time. So to move through that, so you get the full benefit of your masturbation or whatever activity you're engaging in, is to go to the root of the problem, and that will often come from loneliness. So the root of the problem that is driving you to either masturbate or overeat or whatever it is that you're addicted to, I've got a food addiction, that will come from a place of loneliness and not feeling accepted. Now, when you go and address that within yourself, and it will stem from your childhood, because basically your brain, when you're a small baby and you're growing up, is coding and making sense of everything in the world. So if you go back and address those feelings of lack and loneliness before, I know you're bang on. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Star Wars. So, yes, if you address those feelings before you get the urge to masturbate, when you're feeling calm and safe. Hi. Oh, thank you, Erin. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're finding it helpful. That's amazing. Thanks for the feedback. So yeah, if you address these feelings when you are feeling safe. So you see, often with any addiction, you get driven through compulsion. So when you're in this kind of desperate need of, like, let's take masturbation for example, you're feeling like maybe you're really horny and you're like, I need to masturbate, I need to release right now. And I've spoken to men who've had to get off a bus and like basically go in a back alley and masturbate because they couldn't even wait until they got home. And like they've masturbated in public toilets at work, things like that. Like it's very, very common, especially for a man. Now, if you can try and address those feelings before you are in that place of trigger, that then you are more likely to be in a place of control when you feel the urge to masturbate or the compulsion to come over you to do whatever it is you're addicted to. And then when you actually masturbate, because masturbation is healthy, it's very important for you to masturbate. It's not important if you abstain from masturbation, that will make it worse. You have to address it in a healthy place. But if you go in on these feelings, and this is what I do with my clients, when we're in a safe space and we're not in the place of lack, you go in and you start to ask your inner child what they want, and you give them what they want and understand what the message is for why you have created that for yourself. You will begin to get control. So with the post-nut clarity, when you masturbate, that will feel more balanced. You will feel, because you'll feel more in control. Remember, it is an adult who is in control and balanced. It is a child who is compulsive, and it is a child who will like push you to maybe masturbate and not address what you need to address, which then has the post-nut clarity, because the adult then steps in and says, oh, I don't need this, I'm not getting what I want. But if you do address it, you will afterwards, well, after you masturbate, the orgasm will probably be a hell of a lot deeper. You will feel a lot more clear, not the post-nut clarity, because that's almost a false sense of clarity. You will feel clearer that you've like shifted something. You needed it, but it's like a bit like going to the toilet. I've done that now, I can get on with my day. So, and I've had this with clients. I've had clients when I've given them, I've done therapy sessions, and I do a specific thing that I call mother healing, which I've spoken about in a previous video. When I've done this, it literally shifts. They feel actually quite different afterwards. Sometimes it can take a little bit of time. Sometimes you can have it can happen in one session. So it is possible, but even if you're on your own and you can't afford a therapist or whatever, do try to listen to yourself. And I've got photos of myself as a child, and so this is me when I was about, I think I'm around 7 or 8 years old in my grandparents' garden. And old photos of yourself, if you've got any, are a really good way of connecting with your inner child, and a really good way of seeing what it is they need. And I've connected with my little girl, and she actually felt sexual, but she didn't understand, because it was like, you don't talk about sex when you're a child, and you have got no one to talk about. And I created a lot of loneliness around sex, around my body, and it started all around, well, it started a lot sooner, but I've consciously remember it starting around this age. So I've gone in and I've nurtured her and said, I'm going to mother you, and it's okay to feel sexual, and it's okay to feel all of these feelings. This then begins to give yourself what you really need. This addresses the loneliness, and slowly you begin to feel more in control, and you feel like you are an adult, and the little child inside of you isn't running the show, because you're parenting it correctly and giving it the love and nurture that it needs. So that's just as some little tips for this live. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you soon. But yeah, have a good rest of your day, and like I always say, if you've got any questions, my email and my website will be in the description of this video. Notice I do it more when I feel alone or hurt. Oh, I'm glad this has helped you. Thank you for saying that, Erwin. Thank you, thank you so much for saying that, because it will help if you can do this when you're before you're in the state of being hurt or alone. When you're feeling more safe, you have to give yourself that time. This is when you will be it's like parenting yourself. It's like putting yourself to bed. It's like putting your little child, giving it what it needs, because children need to be regulated by an adult, and that's what you're doing when you do this work. You're regulating yourself, and you're nurturing and parenting yourself in a balanced way, so then you can feel more in control when life happens and you're in a trigger situation. So thank you so much for your comments, and I will speak to you all soon. God bless you, and namaste.